It's the 50th anniversary of Neil Diamond's Serenade album, so let's celebrate by listening to half of it. Which half? Well, who knows? It's random. Hey, I'm Joe or JSB, and yes, today's 50-year flashback is highlighting Neil's ninth solo album, his second for Columbia, following the Jonathan Livingston Seagull soundtrack, and one of my favourites, although it's one I haven't heard in a long time. It's a random foreplay, so that just means sticking the album on shuffle and listening to whichever 4 songs happen to be the first to come up. So there'll be some chat and other good stuff along the way, but, well, let's dive right into the album and find out what our first random song is going to be. And it will be this one. Yes, it will. Yes, I will.
Yes, I will. Indeed, I will. If I may, if I might, if I can. Once upon a passing night dream, he beheld a mystic image, bathed in blue reflection. They stood and made his song, closed his eyes to feel the thunder echo like a wave around him. Love was in this strange house, and he knew he did belong. Yes, he did belong. Yes, I will. Indeed, I will. If I can. Cold it was within the marrow, waiting like the wounded sparrow, helpless and forgotten, while the radio played on. Sing your song, you fool, you dreamer. Cross the space that lies between us. Cast the stones of fortune, for the journey has begun. Yes, it has begun. So you do, so you want to be giving. Say it out loud if you need to be holy. So you do, so you want to be loving. Say it out now if you need to be holier still. So it seems, or so it may be, I can't know for sure, but lately seems I'm on a journey to a place I've never been. And maybe if I had the answers, I would lay them all before you. Plainly it's a circle, one that ends and then begins and begins again.
Just like a record.
Yes, I will. Indeed, I will. If I can.
All right. So that was Yes I Will, which is the second song on side 2 of the original vinyl after Longfellow Serenade, which is really only the big hit from this album. And as a result, this album is kind of a little bit overlooked, I think, and unfairly. That's a really good representation of it. There's a lot of slow, dramatic songs on it with lovely orchestration from Jimmy Haskell. And if I look distracted early on, it's because there are two keyboardists on this album, Alan Lindgren, who played with Neil for centuries, and David Paich, several years before he formed Toto. Now, none of the album credits reveal who's playing what, but there were obviously two keyboardists on this track. And my Paich detecting ears tell me that he was playing in the right-hand channel, and it was therefore Alan Lindgren in the left. Paich has kind of a... I describe his playing as having a certain fluidity to it that makes it very distinctive. And if I'm hideously wrong about who's playing what, then, well, what a fool I'd look. But that's my belief, and I'll stand by that. This is a pretty short album. There's only 8 tracks, and it doesn't even hit 33 minutes in total length. But it's, I would say, a very consistent set. As I say, Longfellow Serenade was the only big hit from it, but it was still a big success as an album. It reached number 3 in the US, which was the second best at that point in time, number 11 in the UK, and number 1 in Australia and Germany, 3 in New Zealand. But there's a thing about that. New Zealand didn't have album charts until May 1975. And what was at number 3 on the first week that we had a chart? This album. Yeah. So could it have been number 1 in weeks before? I suspect so. So a lot of the album, as I say, is in the style of the song that we just heard, Yes I Will. There are a couple of tracks, I'd say the weakest tracks on the album, and I'm talking The Last Picasso and Reggae Strut, which on their own, if they come up, who knows if they will, they're more lightweight, I would say, but Reggae Strut in particular could even be considered embarrassing if you're easily embarrassed. But they're fun, and they break up the album when you're playing it start to finish. They add the light and shade that makes it flow as an album and work as a whole, which I think is kind of lost art these days. As soon as CDs came in and everything was start to finish and got longer and longer, it kind of ruined the feel that an album could provide. That's my belief. And things are going back now that the vinyl revival has kicked in and people are learning to keep albums short and give them that flow. But Neil was a master at it at this point in time. We shall hear what else he has in store for us. There's one track on this album, which is the longest track, called Lady Magdalene, and I really hope that comes up because it's amazing. But really, there's nothing poor here, even those 2 weaker songs. So let's carry on. What I plan to do here is to hear the next 2 tracks back to back. Then we'll have a wee bit more of a chat before we go into our 4th and final song on today's Random Foreplay. So let's get into track number 2, and that is going to be this one. Longfellow Serenade, the big hit itself. Number 5 single in the States.
Longfellow Serenade.
And obviously gave the album its title as well.
Such were the plans I'd made, for she was a lady and I was a dreamer, with only words to trade. You know that I was born for a night like this, warmed by a stolen kiss, for I was lonely and she was lonely. Ride, come on baby, ride, let me make your dreams come true. I'll sing my song, let me sing my song, let me make it warm for you. I'll weave this web of rhyme upon the summer night. We'll leave this worldly time on his winged flight, and come and as we lay beside this sleepy glade, there I will sing to you my Longfellow Serenade. Longfellow Serenade. Such were the plans I'd made. But she was a lady as deep as the river, and through the night we stayed, and in my way I loved her as none before. Loved her with words and more, but she was lonely, and I was lonely. Ride, come on baby, ride. Let me make your dreams come true. I'll sing my song. Let me sing my song. Let me make it warm for you. I'll weave this web of rhyme upon the summer night. We'll leave this worldly time on his winged flight. Then come and as we lay beside this sleepy glade, there I will sing to you my Longfellow serenade. Weave your web of rhyme upon our summer night. We'll leave this worldly time on your winged flight.
It's a good one. As I said, we'll go right into track 3, and that is, well, we're enjoying side 2 of this album today. This is
Oh yes.
track 3 of side 2, and is one of those lighter weight songs I mentioned, Reggae Strut.
Someday do,
Trying to work out
don't do,
what accent Neil is using on the song.
do. Some won't
But this is
even
fun.
try.
This is fun.
How are you to know? Well, you got to go and
Ask
ask
it. How are you going to ask it?
Maybe you move it by. Pardon me. Maybe you like to dance it. Maybe you like to chance it. Maybe you like to try. Maybe lady do reggae strut. Maybe lady she do okay. Maybe lady do reggae, making the hips sway, moving it okay. Na 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 na. Oh yes, move that thing. Let me tell you that someday wait, someday can't wait, someday won't wait, some don't even try, try like me. Pick up the elbow higher, pick up the foot and glide it. You got to dance it by. Maybe let it do reggae strut. Maybe let it she do okay. Maybe let it do reggae, making the hips sway, moving it okay.
All right, Reggae Strut there, preceded by the far superior and obvious choice for a single on this album, Longfellow Serenade, of course. Stated reached number 5 in the US, which was his first top 5 single since Song Song Blue in '72. Now, I mentioned the keyboardists, Alan Lindgren and David Paich, on the first track we listened to, but there's other key members of Neil's band who are on this album and played with him for a long time. So we've got Emery Gordy on bass, Richard Bennett on guitar, and Dennis St. John on the drums, all contributing very nicely, I have to say. Now, amazingly, we only have time for one more song. I'm still holding out for Lady Magdalene, which is about 7 minutes long, but everything else on here is probably in the, 2 to 4 minute range, depending on where we go. And that's up to the music gods to decide. I really like this album. The one that comes after is Beautiful Noise, and that's, I think, Neil's masterpiece. And then after that, kind of fell off a cliff for a bit. And made some quite shoddy albums in the late 70s, if we're really honest. Some people probably like those albums, and that's fair enough. But for me, this is peak Neil, mid-70s Neil. So this is actually produced by Tom Catalano, if that's how you say it, who produced a lot of Neil's albums from the certainly Taproot Manuscript on, if not before. So sort of 70 up to this point in 74, and would be his last album with Neil. Well, it's time to find out what the last song we're going to hear from Serenade is going to be. And it is... Yeah, not quite Lady Magdalene, but damn close. This is I've Been This Way Before, the album opener, the second single. Again, like Longfellow Serenade, topped the adult contemporary charts. Only reached number 34 in the pop charts, but it's great. Let's listen.
And I've seen the flame, and I've been this way before, and I'm sure to be this way again. For I've been refused, and I've been regained, and I've seen your eyes before, and I'm sure to see your eyes again, once again.
That's a beautiful Jimmy Haskell arrangement on this one.
For I've been released, and I've been regained, and I've sung my song before, and I'm sure to sing my song again, once again. Some people got to laugh, some
Slow
people
build.
got to cry,
Love it.
and some people got to make it through by never wondering why. Some people got to see, some people got to sigh, and some people never see the light until the day they die. But I've been released, and I've been regained, and I've been this way before, and I'm sure to be this way again, once again. One more time again, just one more time.
Okay, now I usually do what we could have won. We know which 4 songs we didn't hear, and those are what we could have won if we had heard different songs. But let's just find out what the one we just missed out on was. Ah, it was Lady Magdalene. Typical. But, yeah. That's all we can hear from it. The order, in case you're curious, of the remaining 3 was Rosemary's Wine, The Last Picasso, and closed with the actual album closer, The Gift of Song. All right, I've been this way before. That's a song, isn't it? I gather that was originally intended to be part of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, but he didn't quite manage to get it completed in time, so he saved it for this album. And I think I'm glad that happened because I like this album. Whereas JLS is a bit. I think I saw it described as an EP stretched out over 48 minutes, which is pretty apt. I did have that album on vinyl, and it's not one I really miss. It's, yeah, quite repetitive. This one, as I say, is short and punchy. Not quite, as I say, 33 minutes. But who needs longer than that? Makes you want more. Leave 'em wanting, that's what I say. So yes, this was an album that I had on vinyl. Not all my life. This one I picked up myself. I'm sure I only paid $1 or so for it. Is was generally what I paid for my albums back in the day. This got a lot of airtime, and I have only recently added it to my iTunes library because I missed it, and you can't get it on CD for less than 50 quid apparently, which seems astonishing to me. But there you go. At one point, I was going to just play this off Spotify, but I thought, no, well, I know this album and I need to have it, even if it's not really having it physically anymore. Um, and yeah, worth every penny. Um, so we went through most of side 2 in the end, and then just got the first track from side 1. I've been this way before to finish us off with. So it's all over the place, but that's the beauty of randomness. And if you don't know the album, do definitely give Lady Magdalene a listen, and Rosemary's Wine as well is beautiful. As is the Gift of Song, actually. So there you go. Just don't pay 50 quid for this album. It's not worth that, but give it a listen on Spotify. Other streaming services are available. Yeah, I think it is one of Neil's consistently strong albums, of which he doesn't have that many. I love Neil to bits, but he was not always a consistent album artist, if we're honest. Um, anyway, that is Neil's Serenade celebrated. Happy 50th birthday. If you want to know which version of Shiloh is the best, the original or the remake, head of that away. Or if you'd like to see another 1974 singer-songwriter album celebrated, then one of them's over there for you to have a peek at. So I'll just say thanks for watching today, and bye for now, but not for long.
Acting is reacting. This does not mean acting again.